brotherly love.
That's what we call brotherly love.
咱細漢就曉彼此相聽，
Even a small child knows how to express
但
brotherly
是咱
love.
大漢拿來咱袂曉相
It
聽，
seems like as we grow older, we start to lose it.
因為咱拿最家己心內真最慾望 desire 愛達到。
Because we all have our desires that we want to achieve.
當人阻擋你嘅 desire 嘅時陣，
When we see our desires
你就生氣。
or withhold our desires, then we get angry.
叫做幫助咱。
May the Lord help us.
第三，
The third,
彼此相聽，只有證明一項代志，咱實在是聽上帝。
love one another will prove that we truly love
唔係
God.
你嘅聽有長大，
Not only are we growing,
你嘅聽實在是聽上帝嘅聽。
but it proves that we truly love God.
之後再呢，
How do we know?
你看1921。
From verses 19 to 21.
咱聽，因為上帝大先聽咱。人若講我聽上帝，嗰分家嘅兄弟，伊就是講白賊。無聽伊所看到嘅兄弟，就無可能聽無看到嘅上帝。
We love because he first loved us. Whoever claims to love God yet hates a brother or a sister is a liar. For whoever does not love their brother and sister whom they have seen cannot love God whom they have
你
not
看伊
seen.
第20節，
Take note of verse 20.
無聽伊所看到嘅兄弟，就無可能聽無看到嘅上帝。
For whoever does not love their brother and sister whom they have seen cannot love God whom they have not seen.
所以聽上帝應該就聽兄弟，這是咱對上帝所接受嘅命令。
So he has given us this command. Anyone who loves God must also love their brother and sister.
今年喺教會嘅 summer camp，我講咗一個 message，
This year in our church's summer camp, I spoke about a message,
好撒瑪利亞人嘅故事。
the story of the Good Samaritan.
其實這個故事真簡單。
This story is very simple.
你有人問耶穌這個問題，
Somebody asked Jesus a question.
什麼是聽出比真做家己啊？
What do you mean when
Love your
Jesus say, love your neighbor as yourself?
耶穌講這個故事，
And Jesus gave this story and
有這個
answer.
人對耶路撒冷落去耶利哥，
There was a person who went from Jerusalem to Galilee,
對着賊
and he met a thief.
夾伊拍伊，
To Jerusalem, and then he got robbed and he got beaten up,
拍個波死，
and he's almost dead,
這等死。
and he was there lying
Oh,
there at the
Sarang
street waiting for
Kenge.
death. 3 persons passed him
第一個
by.
是這是
The first is the priest,
看到，
and the priest saw the
看
person.
了就走咯。
He saw the person, he ignored the person and walked away.
是利未人，
The second is the Levite.
看到啊走咯。
Likewise, he saw the person and walked away.
第三個人
The third
是撒瑪利亞
is a
人，
Samaritan.
看到
He saw the
冇
person,
要走，
he did not move
留
away.
嘅，
He stayed
救
behind
伊起來，
and saved that
幫助
person
你。
and rescued that person and helped that
耶穌
person.
問這個問題，
And Jesus asked them,
這三個人，
among these 3 people,
這是利未人、撒瑪利亞人，
the priest, the Levite, and the Samaritan,
到這個人是這個着上嘅人嘅出邊。
who's the good neighbor of this person who was wounded?
猶太人講憐憫你嘅，
The Jewish people answered, the person who showed
你
compassion.
看咩啊？伊冇要講撒瑪利亞人，伊
They,
冇要講，
they refused to say the Samaritan,
伊講憐憫你嘅，
but they answered the person who showed
你講
compassion.
yes，
Jesus said, yes,
你去做，
go and do
這就是你
likewise,
嘅出邊。
because you will become their neighbor.
因為有人問耶穌，
Because somebody asked Jesus,
什麼是第一大誡命？
which is the greatest command?
舊約有613條嘅誡命，
In the Old Testament, there are 613 rules or
到一
laws.
條第一大。
And which among them is the greatest?
耶穌講真心、真意、真力去聽你嘅上帝。第二，聽人親像家己。
Jesus answered, love the Lord with all your heart, all your mind, and all your strength. And next is to love your neighbor as yourself.
有人拿最大誡命就是頭一條聽上帝，第二條聽人。
But people often think that the first command is to love God and second command is to love your neighbor. No.
The greatest commandment 只有一條，
There's just one greatest
第
commandment.
一大誡命只有一條，
There's only one.
親像一個 coin 有兩個
It's
size。
just like a coin, it has 2 sides.
這邊是叫做聽上帝，這邊叫做聽人。
The first is to love God and the second is to love others.
為什麼？
Why?
聽上帝的人冇可能袂聽人。
Because a person who truly loves God cannot help but love other people.
姊妹，你
Yes,
的丈夫聽你無？
You want your husbands to love you?
只有一个辦法，
There's only one way.
幫助你嘅丈夫實在好聽上帝。
Help your husband to know the Lord and love the
你若
Lord.
實在聽上帝，伊得個聽你。
If your husband truly loves the Lord, then they will truly love
一個
you.
聽上帝嘅人，
A person who truly loves God,
未話到節禮不嚟。
it's not possible for them to live a life that is away from God's way.
聽神嘅人，的係聽人。
A person who loves God will love other people.
所以耶穌講：你去行，你去行。
That's why Jesus said, go and do the
你
same.
小看咪？今日頭一個，這是看到無點當。
Why is it when the priest saw that person, he just walked away?
什麼叫這事啊？
What's the priest?
這是猶太人非常尊重宗教嘅領袖。
For the Jewish people, it's their most respected spiritual leader.
用現在話嚟解釋，
To use a modern day analogy,
牧師傳道，
it's like the pastors of the church today.
這個牧師經過這個所在，
When a pastor passed by a place
看這個基督徒倒喺頭殼裏面，
and saw a Christian lying there on the
伊
roadside,
竟然無點當。
and he was not moved.
為什麼？
Why?
你小看咪？
You think about it.
我小也估啦，
I thought about it for a long
真係無
time.
點當。
Why is it that he didn't do
只有一
anything?
個可能性，
There's only one
伊
possibility.
頭殼裏面想一項代志，
Because in his mind, he's thinking about something.
有一項代志比救這個人更加重要。
There's something more important for him than saving that person.
請問，
And I'm
牧
asking you,
師有什麼代志比救人更重要？
what is more important to a pastor than saving a person?
侍奉上帝。
For that person, it may be serving God.
我想稍微解釋這個背景，你就知啊。
I'd like to explain something for you to understand.
喺舊約裏面，
In the Old Testament,
這是侍奉上帝有一個條件，
for a priest to be able to serve God, they have one condition.
唔最蒙着暗站。
They cannot come in contact with anything unclean.
嗱，蒙着暗站叫做 unclean 嘅人，唔最喺聖殿裏面侍奉。
When they become unclean, they are forbidden from serving God inside the temple.
你知呀？死人是 unclean 嘅喎，
For them, a dead person is an unclean thing.
所以這個人若死去，
If that person dies
你若蒙着伊，
and he touched that person,
低啦，伊家己 disqualified to serve God。
he disqualifies himself from serving God.
另外你知呀不？
You know why?
這是去聖殿裏面是排隊嘅。
You know, they have to fall in line to go into the church to be able to, temple to be able to serve God.
差不多3年只有一擺嘅機會。
They only have one chance in every 3 years.
你若暗淡着，哇靠，不大，我等另外3年，6年無通侍奉上帝。
If you have come into contact with something unclean, then you're disqualified from serving God in that 3 years. You have to wait another 3 years.
你小看咪？
Think about
你
this.
都話去裝場侍奉上帝嘅工作。
You're about to go and serve the Lord.
哎呀，我掛緊嚟 CP
And
最 translate 多。
Today I'm the translator, so I'm doing my best to hurry here to the
最
church.
speaker，
I'll be the speaker today.
啊是我去搬 Bible， 我記得嘅
I'm going to
Bible，
be distributing Bibles.
侍奉上帝。
I'm serving God today.
邊頭一個人倒地下，
And I saw a person lying there.
無點睛啊！
I don't have time.
我叫伊，我哋影響到嗰個講道，影響到嗰個半聖經
If
no。
I stop by and help that person, I won't have time to go to the church. I'll be late.
侍奉上帝 number one，
To serve God is number one.
but they missed the main point。
But they missed the main point.
什麼叫侍奉上帝？
What is serving God?
因為聽上帝，侍奉人就是侍奉上帝。
Because when we truly love God, we will serve other people.
嚟教會是最近，可能唔是侍奉上帝。
We come to the church, maybe we're doing things, we're doing activities, but we're not really serving God.
你嘅動機是為什麼？
Why is it that you're serving God?
你是被侍奉上帝，還是侍奉工作？
What is your purpose? Are you serving in the church just to do things, or are you truly serving God?
這是看到假咯。
The priest saw it and moved away
你唔知什麼是聽神侍奉人。
because they don't know that to love God is to serve other
有
people.
這個利未人嚟咯
The。second was the Levite.
利未人係是侍奉上帝嘅人。
Levite is another person that is serving God.
你若講這是牧師，利未人就是接受 cell group leaders。
If we say the priest is the pastor today, then the Levite are probably the elders, the deacons, or the cell group leaders,
song leader。
song leaders.
上款啊，侍奉上帝嘅人啊。
Same way they are serving God.
上款啊，暗站為咗侍奉上帝啊
The。same way, if they come into contact with something unclean, they cannot serve
哎呀
God.
今日嗰時我 HV 獻唱啦，
Today's HV turn to sing.
我若幫襯這個人嗰度欠一個聲啦，
If I stop and help this person, HV will miss one voice.
我嗰時400 HV 第一嚿唱啊，第一鬼嘅。
And also the greatest singer among the HV group.
Sorry，侍奉上係較重要。
For them, serving God is more important.
They miss the point。
They miss the point.
真正嘅侍奉，因為聽上帝去幫助人。
True ministry is to help people because of loving God.
耶穌講一個比喻，
Jesus gave an example.
當我過來嘅時陣，
When I come back,
將人分做兩群，
I will divide the people into two groups.
一個是綿羊，這是傻羊。
One group will be the sheep and one will be the goat.
耶穌講綿羊講，
All the sheep, she will address all the sheep.
來享受主人嘅歡喜。
Come and enjoy my happiness.
Why？
Why?
我破病你嚟看我，
Because when I was sick, you took care of me.
我哋披身你嚟探
When I
我，
was in prison, you visited me.
我冇沙清你好我沙騰清
When，I was naked, you clothed me.
我冇俾家食你好我食。
And when I was hungry, you fed me.
要講，檢冇，
And
檢冇
they would answer, did we do such a thing?
，yes，
Yes.
你追的這個衰家嘅善召，就是追的寡嘅善召。
Jesus said, what you did for the least of these, you did it for me.
為奉主名幫助這個衰家，就是幫助上帝。
What you did for the sake of the Lord to all these people, you did it for the Lord.
也教依嘅傻妖講，
Once he was addressing the goat.
你歹人啊，嚟受罰啦！
You are the wicked people. Come and take my punishment.
咁啊，
Why?
我破病你冇嚟看
When
我，
I was sick, you did not take care of me.
我冇通食你冇嚟好我食，
When I was hungry, you did not feed me.
我冇沙清你冇我清，
When I was naked, you did not clothe me.
我哋披身你冇嚟探我。
When I was in prison, you did not care for me or visited me.
我話我啊，都唔不安你啦
You。probably say you're just blaming me, but I didn't do such a thing.
No，
No.
你唔不追住這個衰家嘅善召，就是唔不追住寡嘅
You
善
did
召。
not do anything for the least of the people for my sake.
叫上帝幫助人。
May the Lord help us.
什麼叫做真正嘅侍奉？
What is true
因
ministry?
為聽上帝嘅侍奉。
It's loving God, a ministry that is truly
第
reflecting
三
our love
人，
for
撒
God.
瑪利亞人嚟
The
咯，
third is a Samaritan.
伊看到，
He saw that person,
伊冇點燈，
but he didn't move.
伊個看，
He looked on
接着決定，
and he made a decision.
伊留落嚟幫助這個人，
He stopped and helped that person.
甚至出資出力嚟幫助你。
He used his money, he used his resources to help that person.
Why？
Why?
答案是四個漢文字，三個英文字。
The answer can be found in 4 Chinese words and 3 English words.
先講這個人動了主心，
He was filled with compassion.
動了主心。
That person was filled with compassion.
你注意看咪？
Take note of this.
第四福音裏面，
In the 4 Gospels,
每一擺 mention 動了主心，都 mention 這個人。
whenever the phrase filled with compassion was used, it was often used with one person,
Jesus。
Jesus Christ.
耶穌充滿這項大事情，已動了主心。
Whenever Jesus was doing something, he was always filled with compassion when he did it.
什麼叫做 love？
What does love mean?
動了主心
It's to be filled with compassion.
，move your heart。
Compassion will move our heart.
你看，喺馬可第1章，
In Mark chapter 1,
有一個鬼仙古多麻風病嘅
a
人，
person with leprosy,
伊甲耶穌講：
he came to Jesus
主
and
啊
said,
願意得個學我好起來。
Lord, if you're willing, I will, please heal me.
耶穌春秋蒙伊，
Jesus extended his hand,
但係先講，before 耶穌春秋蒙伊，先講 Jesus moved with compassion。
for he extended his hand. The Bible said that Jesus was moved with compassion.
耶穌心動了主心。
He was filled with it.
喺馬太20章記得兩個痴迷嘅人，
In Matthew chapter 20, there were 2 blind men who came
呢個
to Jesus.
耶穌講：大必嘅家可憐我吧。
Says, Son of David, have mercy on me.
先講什麼？
What did the Bible
耶
say?
穌動了主心，
Jesus
春秋蒙伊。
Filled with compassion, touched them.
佢係 prodigal son 嘅故事。
How about the story of the prodigal son?
其實 prodigal son 嘅故事是講唔得啦，
Many times our focus on the prodigal son is wrong.
應該是講 因為 prodigal son 唔是講 prodigal son， 是講 prodigal son and father。
Because the main character here is not the prodigal son, but the prodigal son's father.
所以應該是 prodigal son father。
It should be called the prodigal son's father.
這個囝到來嘅時陣，
When the son came home,
先講一句話，
the Bible recorded,
這個老爸動了主心
the，father saw the son from afar off and he was filled with compassion.
這是第一塊上帝對人嘅疼。
It's the kind of love that God has for the
你知冇？
people. You know,
聖經 mention 動了主心，都是 refer to Jesus and the Son and the Father。
it's often when the word filled with compassion was used, it will often refer to Jesus Christ and the relationship between the Son and the Father.
這個嚟疼是對上帝嚟嘅。
That kind of love only comes from God.
所以聖經講 ，We love because God first loved us。
That's why the Bible tells us that we love because God first loved us.
撒瑪利亞人用行動證明而明白上帝嘅疼。
The Samaritan person proved that he loves God by his actions.
咱是唔是在疼上帝嘅人？
Do we truly love God?
聖經講，看到嘅兄弟，你若無要疼；
If you see your brothers and you do not love your brother,
若無看到嘅人，你咪就有疼；
if you do
無
not
看到
love,
上帝，你咪就有疼。
how can you love if you cannot love the brother you can see, then how can you love God whom you cannot
佢
see?
就幫襯咱，
May the Lord help
唔
us.
當家己騙家己。
Let's not deceive ourselves.
若無曉疼人，無也曉疼上帝。
If we do not know how to love other people, then we cannot love God.
耶穌講：
Jesus said,
你若彼此相疼嘅時陣，
if you love one another,
人看出
people will see
You are my disciples，
you are my disciples
因為你有上帝嘅生命，
because you have God's life in you
而你嘅生命有成長，
and your life is growing.
而成長嘅疼證明實在是疼上帝嘅
And
疼。
in the growth of your life, you will truly show that you love God.
叫做幫襯
May
你。
the Lord help us.
喺這個 meditation 嘅時陣，
Use this time to meditate.
我哋想講一項大事
And I want you to meditate upon one thing.
，Love is action。
Love is an action.
你若是在彼此相疼，
If you truly love one another
是在疼上帝。
and you truly love God,
這個禮拜裏面，
in this week,
你試看咪？
just put into
你
practice.
創一項大事
Do something
to prove you are the son of God，
to prove that you are the Son of
to
God.
prove you have the love of God。
To prove that you have the love of God.
你小看咪？
Think about
我
this.
上帝愛你做什麼大事
What is it that God wants you to do?
？Time for meditation. Maybe 上帝 want you to say sorry to someone and do something for someone. Love is action. Don't put love in your mouth. Do something. 這禮拜超過咪？創一項大事，顯出你是在主嘅門徒。